but don't fall. Oh, my little catchphrase I came up with from the last episode. But I hope it worked out well. Thank you again for coming to listen to me. And thank you so much for your support and the love I've received so far. I truly appreciate it. If this is your first time listening in, this is Dr. Nakaya Johnson. I specialize in metaphysical science. I am also a holistic health practitioner, certified clinical master herbalist. I am a certified aromatherapist. I am a certified nutritionist consultant. I am a Reiki master teacher. I hold many hats, and I am here to help, tell my story, to help guide others to the better version of themselves. And, being Mystical Mama's Way, LLC, I am to be there as a guide for others that don't know how to really embrace the parts of themselves that they don't really know, or they're afraid to know, So that's, the number one thing. So last episode, I discussed some things that I do, my services and things like that. But for this episode, I really would like to start to dig into, me and what got me all the way here. It's been a long road and one that I'm still traveling, one can never stop learning. One is always a student to life, The one thing that you can say is, if you think you know something, you know nothing, absolutely nothing. This world is just on such a vast, it's just very, very, everything's changing rapidly every day. And it's very, very, it could be overwhelming. You know what I mean? Especially for us empaths, especially for us, spiritual folks, it really can get intense, so again, thank you for joining. So let me touch base a little bit about my childhood, right? So I grew up in New Jersey, and, it really was a very interesting venture for me, like as a kid. I grew up a 2-parent household, everything was everything, we didn't want for anything, and throughout that time, okay, ever since I can remember, maybe when I was about 5 or 6, just stuff would always happen that I could not explain. Always something going on that was just really confusing to me as a kid, so, and I was always a dreamer too. But there are times when I could be awake and I would think that I was dreaming. And, there'd be times I'm sleeping and I'm dreaming and I'm thinking that I'm awake. So it was always just a confusion of like, what's happening right now? What is happening right now? And growing up, I always liked to stay in my brother's room. In my middle brother's room. My oldest brother, we're all like pretty spaced out. I have 2 older brothers. We're all pretty spaced out, so it was really just like difficult, to get over what I was going through, because as a kid, you just don't know. There's just so much stuff you don't know. So being able to sleep with my brother really saved me sometimes, because I used to be so afraid to be in my room, and I didn't always see spirits like how a lot of like other psychics will say they seen spirits, like actual people walking up in their room and stuff like that. I've had an encounter like that. I've had an encounter like that one time I will say that scared the bejeebers out of me. Okay, I'm trying not to cuss on here. But I had one instance that really, really scared the heck out of me, but it was a real thing. It was really happening. So anyway, so as a kid, I would always wake up to stuff like just feeling like something was in my room, feeling like something was always around me, and I was always feeling chased. Like always feeling chased after, not really sure what was after me, but just felt chased. You know that feeling as a kid when you're like afraid of the dark because you think something's in the dark? Like I really used to feel that something really was there, So I remember this one time, this was one of the first times I experienced anything crazy that was just like, what the heck is that? But I was okay with it, which is the weird part. Okay. And I'm okay with accepting who I am and going through this process of me coming out to be, just a spiritualist, just being who I am, because these are real experiences. No, I do not have a diagnosis of any mental health disorders or anything like that. I do have anxiety because of all of the stuff that I experience. Being an empath has all to do with really going off of what you're feeling on the inside and what you're feeling from other people, and not what's just on the physical, but on the spiritual level also. It can be complicated, So I was sleeping in my brother's room, and my brother was just clearly knocked out. So I woke up, thought I was, I don't know what I thought was going on. I'm thinking that I'm dreaming, but I'm awake. So I'm just like looking around the room, just kind of waiting to fall back to sleep. And I started to feel like a buildup of something about to happen. Like, I'm like, okay, something's in here, And I'm looking around trying to like figure out what that feeling was. But it's almost like that feeling, like when someone is like walking up behind you, and like all your sensors are up because you can feel the person, like those electromagnetic frequencies, you can feel when someone's up on you, and it was like that. I was feeling like that all over my body, but I'm laying on my side and my brother's next to me knocked out. So I'm like, well, I don't see anybody else. So I'm confused, So then I look out into the hallway, that was kind of dancing into my parents' bedroom. Not like dancing, but just kind of like bouncing around. Was like an apparition, but it was like a skeleton. It was like a full body skeleton, not like no Pirates of the Caribbean stuff, okay? Like no skeletons like that. Like it was just kind of like, it kind of looked cartoonish, and just the way that it made itself known, like it obviously wanted me to see it. So it kind of just slowly moved, just like it wasn't like walking or anything like that. But it's like, when something is just floating along effortlessly, that's how it was moving, just effortlessly, just moving. But it had like, like a aura around it. Like you obviously can tell it wasn't just a regular skeleton that you just see anywhere, like on Halloween or something. It was, standing straight up, and it had a lot of energy around it. Like it was, a lot of energy around it. It was dark, it was black, around it, but the skeleton was like pure white, but it was just, didn't see any eyes or anything like that, but it was just teetering around, and then it went into my parents' bedroom. So I'm at this point, my eyes are popped wide open, okay, entirely wide open, and I'm just looking at this thing like, what the heck was that? But for me, as a kid, it was just like, oh, okay. Oh, that's what that feeling was. And then when it went away, the feeling went away that somebody was like close to me, like standing nearby me. But the energy was just so strong. So that was just one thing. And I saw it, and then I kind of just rolled over and kind of went back to sleep. It was like I was relieved that the feeling went away, And I wonder now to this day if that was the reason why I was woken up, because I felt something coming, And that relates to a lot of what happens in my life now. Like, I can just feel something coming and boom, a spiritual interaction. Now, mind you, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. We're very, very connected, more than you may think. We are connected. And a lot of things that we may confuse as like, demonic or negative or things like that. The science has proven like there is definitely another reality. There's another possibility of different realities, around us, on like a cell level, like a metabolic level, like a different frequency, So that's just it. But anyway, so after that happened, I was just like, holy crap, like I never told anybody that. Like, I have never shared that with anybody except for maybe like one person, but Lord knows I don't even remember their last name or child. I don't know who it was. But I have not openly spoken about this, and it really disturbed me, It was just like, oh, okay, that happened, but like, what the heck was that? So like I said, I've always been feeling chased, right? So then there was another instance. I remember, being in elementary school, and my elementary school was like right near my parents' house. So like not even a 5-minute walk was how far it was away from home. So I remember coming home one day, I'm just walking, just minding my business, just walking slow. And I remember having this feeling like something's coming, like the same feeling that I felt that day. Something's coming. And so I kind of stopped and I look around and I'm just like, well, is somebody trying to get me, like kidnap me or something, but I don't see anybody. There's nobody around me. But there's this pressuring urge of a feeling to just start moving faster, like to just get out of there, like get in the house, So I start to move a little faster, and winds started picking up a little bit, So I'm just like, well, what the heck is going on? So at this point, like I'm like, fast power walking here, I'm power walking, and nobody was at home. Yet we all used to get home at different times because, like I said, me and my brothers were like 5-10 years apart, so we were all in different stages of school and all that other stuff. And my dad wasn't home yet. Like nobody was home. I had my like key and stuff. So as I got closer, I started to really feel like somebody was up on me the same way that I felt that night. When I saw the skeleton, it was just like very scary feeling like somebody's about to grab me and be right there. Like, so as I'm power walking, as I get like in sight of my house, I started booking it, I started running because I'm like, look, something's after me. I got to get up in the house, So as I get closer, I'm fumbling the key. I'm trying to get in the house. And as soon as I got into the house, I slammed the door really hard. I mean, and my parents had like blinds on the back of the door, to kind of close up the window, like, cause there's like a glass, you can kind of look through the door. So I slammed that door so hard, the blinds was like flying side to side, and I had to stabilize it. And I stood behind the door, like in the crease of the door. I just remember pushing my body up into that crease, and I'm just like out of breath, like, holy crap, something was after me. And I was very, 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 very terrified. And I didn't know why, I didn't know why until I looked on the wall. So if you've ever been to my parents' house, which I'm pretty sure none of you have, because I never really invited that many people into my parents' house, but there was a plant, like when you walked in on the right side. And those plants that like it's really hard to explain, but they just grow and they grow and they grow so long. And seemed like every parent back in the day had one of these in their house. But this plant used to like grow up into like our stairs, like the railing on the stairs and stuff, and was very pretty. But there was a glare from, the outside, like the sun shining in through that glass on the door to the wall. And as I was breathing and I was so out of breath, I looked over to the light on the wall and I saw a hand, like a hand that just like genuinely just tried to kind of like grab me, like the hand looked like it just wanted to show me like, hey, I almost got you, but here, like, let me show you, let me manifest myself to you. So the hand was kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. Like when, like if someone was trying to tell you to come here, but they're like slowly move all of their fingers toward themselves, like some fancy way of saying like, come here, darling, or something. I don't know. But all I know is when I saw that, it was like a shadow of a hand, and I saw it in the reflection on the wall. And when I tell you, my eyes almost jumped out of my head. But at the same time, this was a normal thing for me. Like this was something that was like, oh, like that was a scary moment, but hey, let me go take my book bag off and do my homework. Like it was just something that would occur often, like things, weird things, so it was just one of those moments. But that was like the second time that I experienced something that was just like, what was that now? Like, so it's like as my life went on, experiences like that would happen and I would just be still confused, but I also had nobody to tell. Like, I had nobody to be like, yeah, this and that just happened and I need some help. I need somebody to explain to me what that was. But, my family they were Christian, and it wasn't necessarily something that I could just freely discuss, but oh my gosh, like when I tell you my heart was jumping because, that feeling of being chased, and it's like, it was just even more bizarre that I couldn't see the whatever was after me besides the hand, that shadow, but it was crazy. In that time I was in elementary school. I believe I was, I don't know, I want to say I might have been in like third grade. Like I was just so young experiencing this stuff. But these are experiences that truly shaped my understanding of the world around me. It made me go into like hyperdrive as a teenager going into an adult as to like, what the heck was that I'm experiencing as a kid? These are memories that that I won't forget, like they're like burned into the subconscious of my mind. The memory bank of my mind is stamped with these experiences. So after that, I honestly want to say that I believe that I started suppressing these experiences. Like I started to tell myself that, like it wasn't real. Like I was starting to, like when it's time for a kid to like not have such an imagination anymore, I was getting to that age where I'm just like, you know what, I can't keep doing this. Like, I was declaring to myself, like, I'm not going to keep experiencing this. You know what I mean? And at the time, like I said, my parents and like my family's Christian, and I didn't understand the like being a Christian and Jesus, and I didn't understand any of that stuff, so I was just genuinely just felt a little bit trapped in my own mind and in my own perspective of life, but definitely knew something was off. So for a little bit, not long, but for a little bit, my mind was suppressed. I tried to tell myself those things were not occurring, but still stuff kept happening. I hadn't seen anything after that for maybe like a few months. But then a movie came out. I believe I watched my ultimate favorite movie of all time, and to this day, it's still my favorite movie. I watched this movie called The Craft. And of course, at this age, I'm like, okay, I can't be, having no imagination that's going to have me going through stuff like this, right? But after I seen that movie, The Craft, I don't know if y'all seen it, heard of it, with Rachel True, such an amazing movie. With Nancy and the high school girls, and, they were all coming together to find the fourth of their coven. And the new girl that came to town, her name was Sarah. But Sarah didn't know that she was like, that she had gifts, that she was magical. The other girls knew, like they had some gifts and stuff like that. But when they met Sarah, they were just like inviting her, like trying to be nice to her and stuff, because they needed the power that she carried to, do certain spells and stuff that they were wanting to do. So it's a very mystical movie. But then the girls got rotten, they started doing stuff that Sarah wasn't okay with, and it just got real. But anyway, it brought such a grounding feeling and understanding within me. I'm just like, I'm different. Like, I'm different, and there are other people that are different. Granted, yes, it was a movie, but in my childlike mind, I'm like, this is real. Because of what I'm experiencing and what I'm seeing in this particular movie, there's no way that I can't like figure out or find stuff like this. You know what I mean? To try to test my, to test my abilities and stuff, right? So, around about 9 years old, and granted, I'm still experiencing things from that point when I saw that hand and all that. And this wasn't too long after that. So this was back when like freaking Ask Jeeves and stuff, Ask Jeeves and stuff was out. Google wasn't even a thought. Okay. Like Google wasn't out or nothing like that. So I remember going on like Ask Jeeves, and I was writing in there like magical stuff, magical people, just typing in whatever made sense to my childlike brain at the time. And lo and behold, I found this website, right? I believe it's Everything Under the Moon. That was the website. And when I tell you, I felt like I hit the jackpot as far as like the first step of understanding who I was. It was a website basically filled with like, spells and talkings about the moon phases and like a whole bunch of stuff. But like it felt good because it was something that I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing. That feeling, like I was very, very, very I was very happy to know that I stumbled upon it because it was like my secret. It's like, oh my God, I figured out who I am and the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. This is a part of, because it wasn't like something that was scary to me. It wasn't something that was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this because, it's the devil. No, that's not what I was thinking. It was more so like, this is a part of who I am. Like, because mystical stuff to me was just always extremely over the top interesting to me. Like, I couldn't really explain it, but now in this day and age, I'm 32 now. Reincarnation was truly something that I know is a thing. It's real. And I came from, source with knowledge and with like a familiarity with those things, which is why I was attracted to doing that kind of stuff so much. So it's truly been a blessing from that moment. So anyway, boom, I found that website, and to this day I have it on my phone, like saved to my home screen, because it's a staple. It's the day I figured out like a step that I was on. So, back in the day, like the first time you look up stuff like that, automatically someone thinks like, oh, I'm a Wiccan. I'm a Wiccan, I'm a witch. You know what I mean? This is my path. This is my journey. This is who I am. I'm a spellcaster, right? So, I started to, and you'll be surprised now, okay? You'll be surprised the people that walk around here acting like they don't be casting spells and working roots, working magic, all that, okay? You'd be surprised. It'd be the people that you least expected, and people will even deny it, but those be the people that probably be having like, books and books and books of how to cause much good and how to cause much chaos, using metaphysical ways of doing things, But anyway, so at the time, my brother, my oldest brother, he had just had a baby around that time. He was in high school already. He was a senior, I believe. And so his girlfriend came to live with us for some time. And I remember I had brought it up to her because, I don't have any sisters. I mentioned I had 2 older brothers. So for me, it was like, okay, I needed to tell somebody, and I was getting to trust her, So I told her about it, and little do you know, she's just like, oh yeah, like I'm magical too. Like I am, I do this kind of stuff too. So I was like really shocked and like, oh my God. So it's this is a thing. This is a real thing. It's like a secret network of people. Even now, like in life, it's a secret network of people that do, root work and all kind of stuff. But some people are not so secret about it. And that's okay. But it's like, oh my goodness. I was so happy to hear that, she was kind of into the same thing. And she was telling me about stuff that her and her best friend, used to do and stuff like that. So there was a spell that I was looking up one time just to try to test, different things like that. I think the first thing that I tried to do, the first thing that she was telling me to do, I told her that I liked this boy at school. And I was like, yeah, he's not really nice to me like that. But I had a crush on him and all that. And, I wanted to kiss him. So she told me about a spell to do. Like, she wrote it out, and then she was teaching me how you can create your own spells and stuff like that. And she helped me understand, magic doesn't just come out of nowhere. Like, it comes from inside of you. You have the ability to do what you want to do. So once she told me that, she wrote this spell out for me and stuff. And she was saying I had to use a red candle and burn some paper and stuff like that. But, in my house, like I said, I grew up Christian. So this was please let my mom catch me burning some candles and some paper up in the house. My ass is grass, So I couldn't just do stuff like that. I was very nervous and scared. So I'm just okay, now that I know I have the ability to do things or whatever, but I was just so afraid to attempt this, so scared. So I never did the spell or anything. But the fact that I had the knowledge that I had at the time was wow, this is not a coincidence. This is really, I'm finding out who I am. I am a magical person, this is who I am, so over time, I just was reading more stuff. I was on this website every day, you guys. When it was time for me to go to bed and stuff for school, I was searching this website, all the spells, looking at everything. And I was watching the movie that I mentioned, The Craft. And I was just okay, boom, let me try to see if I can find some of the spells of the movie in here, on the website and stuff. So in the movie, there's this scene where Sarah, you know what? I don't even want to tell y'all the movie. I just really, if you're supporting the podcast and stuff, take a moment and go watch that movie. It's an old movie, came out in I believe in the 90s. But so there's a spell that I tried, from the movie. And, I had to use a candle. And it was a candle that my mom had bought. So it wasn't if I got caught, I would have just been yeah, I just wanted to see what it smelled like or something, But so I tried to light the candle and do a spell, to change something about my appearance, And of course, it didn't work because the candle that I was using and, how I went about it, it was entirely far from reality. There's no way that my eyes would have been the color of this candle. Okay. We're talking about some specially crafted, super artistic looking candle. There's no way that would have happened. But I will say that day, not that day. It might have been the next day or the same day. It was such a long time ago, but I distinctly remember getting a lot of compliments about the particular appearance change that I was trying to make. A lot of compliments about this particular, area of my body. And I'm just wow, do I look different? Did I look a little bit different? Were they just different? But no. And then the day after that, I didn't get any compliments about it anymore. So I was something happened. Something happened there. So it gave me more confidence. You know what? Something is happening the same something that's been happening, the same weird little stuff that's been happening. So I was starting to get a feel like, okay, I think I can control some stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that God's given me the ability to be able to do some stuff, So after that, I started to just research more stuff, and at this point, I don't have no money, so I can't just be like, oh, let me go get a reading and stuff. And I didn't really know too much about fortune tellers and stuff like that, because at that age, I'm not going to go anywhere or do anything that involves that type of mysticism, like that type of, I'm not going to be around anybody that's going to be like, yeah, let's get a reading or get your palm read and stuff. I didn't really know about that stuff. You know what I mean? The only thing that I heard about that even made it a possibility in my head, like maybe I should get a reading. I remember my mom, she used to always tell me, like, growing up, you never let a fortune teller or somebody read, if they say they want to read your palm, don't let them read your palm, because they open your hand up and put like evil energy into your hand. They open your hand up to stuff, and they put bad stuff in your hand and in your life and all that. So naturally, I'm like, okay, well, I shouldn't do that then. I shouldn't go to anybody that's like that. But based off of the stuff I was experiencing, my curiosity was beyond, it was surpassed. It was surpassed what anybody could tell me at this point. It's just like my curiosity, I was on a journey already at such a young age to figure out who I was, in regards of the spiritual stuff. So I figured out over time, just throwing it out there, because this is a educational platform, along with me telling my experiences and stuff. There are things that I teach about known as chakras. Chakras are energy centers that are naturally, a part of our physical chemical makeup of our body. They kind of help us filter in energy and filter out energy as appropriate. Our hands, our hands are already open. Our feet are already open. So the fact that, my mother was taught these things, so I can't be upset with her. But so the fact that she was taught that, oh, someone's going to open up your hand and put something in it. Our hands, we are walking open beings. We connect to everything that's around us, whether you want to know that or not. So we are open already. So, that was a busted myth. I immediately found that out as I got older and did my studies, going towards my doctorate in metaphysical sciences. Chakras are something, and you know what? I learned that when I was, 16? When I was up out of high school. Like I started studying even more deeply when I had time after school and stuff. So our hands, our palm chakras are open. When you feel like just an expression of energy, like when you're hot and you're sweating, your palms get sweaty, your stuff, there's energy fluctuating in and out of your body at all times, whether you're conscious or unconscious. Energy is always flowing all the time, but the things that I'm able to help with in being a Reiki master, I am able to work with energy in a way that others might not feel they're able to. I'm more aware of subtle energies. And I'll touch base more about subtle energies, because that is truly the start of it all. Learning to identify subtle energies, whether it's just a subtle thought, a subtle sensation, though when I mean subtle, like something that's energetically subtle. Same thing as when you're standing somewhere and you feel somebody staring at you and you look directly at them. You know what I mean? The same type of subtle feeling when, someone's standing right behind you or maybe a little bit too close. You feel that energy. It's the same type of subtleties, But anyway, so back on track. So basically, as I gotten older, I desire to have a reading. I desire to have someone be able to hopefully tell me like who I am and what I carry in my life and why are these weird things happening to me? How can I see them and other people around me don't see or feel stuff? Just trying to get answers. So as I gotten older, I actually got the courage up to be like, you know what? I'm going to dig deep in this. So throughout high school, I did a lot of softball. I did a lot of sports, track. I did so many different things to where it was hard to really focus intensely, So I was basically hiding my spiritual self a lot throughout my life from the age, of 9, figuring stuff out all the way up and through like middle school and stuff. So whenever stuff happened, like weird stuff, I would just kind of keep it to myself. I wouldn't say anything. I just wanted to just seem like I was normal. You know what I'm saying? And I never really shared that with people that I have an obsession with spiritual things, stuff happening, weird stuff happening, just different things. So like I said before, I suppressed stuff because I tried to tell myself like stuff wasn't happening. But stuff happened by force sometimes, little different things here and there. But there was another profound moment that happened that this was during high school. And this was before I started deeply submerging myself into like the studies that will really truly align me with where I'm at now. So during high school, folks and partied and drank and, smoked weed and everything. I did a lot of different things. And, well, Lord, let me not say it like that. Hold up, pause. I never popped any pills or nothing like that. I never did anything like that. It was just, I just drank and I just, smoked a little marijuana here and there. So there was a time when I felt like, okay, there was a lot of suppression going on in my life when it came to my spiritual gifts. But this day, I will say, okay, you know what? I can't hide who I am anymore. I can no longer hide this identity any longer. I have to pay attention and figure out what the heck is going on, even deeper. So this was when I want to say I was a junior. No, I think I was a senior because I was driving. Yep, I had my car. Okay. I was at a friend's house. And this till this day gives me goosebumps, okay? I was at a friend's house and me being spiritual already, whenever I smoked, marijuana, it would just make my gifts go crazy. It would make my spiritual experience more intense, so it wasn't like I can deny it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I can deny it and be like, okay, boom, let me let me try to act like that didn't happen. No. Like I would smoke. Lots of times I would just kind of ignore stuff, but this day I couldn't. It was just like, wow. And this was the first time somebody was with me to kind of confirm, what I'm saying, what was going on. So I had a best friend at the time, and I was at her house, and it was late, but that was my smoke buddy. We smoked a lot and stuff. So we smoked this one particular day, and I was at her house all the time. So we sitting down watching TV, and all the lights are off. She has an upstairs, downstairs house and stuff. All the lights are off, and it's only the light of the TV that's like in the room. And like how a TV light is, it's kind of like, it doesn't shine directly straight in front of you. It can shine to the side or whatever. So I'm sitting on a couch, and this couch is like a wraparound couch, like a sectional or whatever. So a part of the couch like goes in front of the front door of the house, like, it goes by. So I'm sitting nearby the door, and I started to feel the feeling that I hadn't felt in a long time. Okay. That buildup of energy that I mentioned from when I was a kid, like something's coming. But I've been feeling that for like multiple times, different little hints of my intuition and stuff from the age of 9, so on, up until this age. I was like 17. But this time was one of them times where I felt it so strongly that I got scared, because I knew something was coming. Like, it was undeniable. I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I'm worried because I'm like, damn, like I'm high. I smoked. I don't want to see or feel what this is like, because it was really intense. It was very strong. I'm very clairsentient. That's one of the technical terms of, being able to clearly feel something, which is in my book, in my first book, and in my second book as well. It goes a little bit deeper into that. But so something was coming. And at this time, I'm looking around. I'm looking at my friend, she's just watching TV. So I'm looking around the room because we're in the dark, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, not now, like not right now. So behind the couch, I started feeling like some winds, like some cool breeze, like building up or something. And something was like building up. And I'm like, oh my God, like what the hell is that? So I'm like, maybe the air conditioner's on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, cause it was the summertime. So I'm like, maybe the air conditioner's on or something, like, So then at this point, I'm trying not to look around the room. I'm intensely staring at the TV. But I just had an epiphany about it just now as to why I was able to see that. When you're doing meditation and you're trying to intensely focus on something, like you gaze at something, you're able to pick up on other things that's happening outside of the gaze, like you're in your peripheral. But spiritually, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, these images will not be blurry. They will be very clear in your peripheral. Okay. So I'm watching TV. Next thing you know, I'm just even getting goosebumps just even thinking about this right now, just even talking about it. Next thing you know, the image, like I'm talking about, like not even, I won't even want to say an image, because I don't want you to think I'm talking about like a picture. A physical manifestation of a man kind of steps into the light of the TV, but very gracefully. It's almost like they just blended out of nowhere and just gracefully just was there. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't, crazy. But to me, okay, I'm just like, oh, here go this weird stuff again. Like something is happening. But when I saw him, when I tell you, I felt like I was sunken into the couch. Like I couldn't speak for a moment. Like it was a good 3 to 5 seconds where I was just like staring at him. I was gripping the couch and I was staring at him. And then he's just staring at me. The next thing you know, I just start screaming. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm just like, there's a man in your house. There's a man. There's a man. I just start screaming. There's a man. I'm like, is somebody in here? There's somebody in here. So she jumps up. She runs and turns the light on. She starts running around the house like, hold up, where? Because in her kitchen, there was a door that leads to outside that's in her kitchen, so she thought somebody came in the kitchen and was like in the house. So she turned the light on. She's running around and stuff. And she just like, ain't nobody in here. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm sitting here like on the couch, just like panicking, like just breathing heavy, just staring like in that same exact spot he was standing. And when I tell you, okay, this man was fully dressed. To this day, I can see what the man had on. He had on a pair of jeans. He had on like a plaid shirt. And he had on like a trucker's hat, like just a hat. And it had like that square, a white square on his hat, and he was just staring at me, And when I tell you, I was just beyond scared. Like, I was beyond scared. And because it's not like it was just an apparition. No, like he was staring at me. Like I saw his eyes and everything. He was staring right at me. And I genuinely didn't know what to do. So I told my friend, like, she was just like, what's the problem? What happened? Like, what was it? I was like, I don't know if you're going to believe me. Like, this was one of those moments where it's like my reaction was so intense. Like, before I can kind of hide it in front of people and stuff. But this is why I said I couldn't hide it no more. Like, I had to say something, So I was like, I don't know if you're going to believe this or not. But I was like, there was a man standing right there. He had on this, and that, had on a trucker hat. She says, well, I don't know if I told you, but this was my grandparents' house. And, that's all he wore was like plaid shirts and like trucker hats and stuff. Listen to me when I tell you that was it for me for the night. I said, oh, okay, well, that's crazy. I'm like, that's wild crazy, okay. I went home. When I tell you I drove my little Ford Taurus up that damn road so fast, I was just I was even afraid to drive home because I'm like, well, is he about to pop up in a car? Am I going to start seeing spirits? Like, am I going to start, is this stuff about to jump up? Like, at this point, I'm like, okay, if that happened, and I've been suppressing myself for this long, and that happened, I was just thinking that I was about to just start walking around, seeing them all over the place. You know what I'm saying? But ever since then, like my intuition and my gifts, they just started growing more. I started feeling more from other people. It's almost like me smoking that day, like unlocked more of my gifts, and it just went haywire. You know what I'm saying? Woo, child. Oh, I just see the picture so clear in my mind, from back then. But when I tell you that I was so afraid, and this even drives me even further, this situation drove me further down the path of being who I know I am to be right now. Dr. Nakia Johnson specialized in metaphysical sciences, Doctor of Philosophy. I study these things now, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of all the stuff that I went through. I don't care how scary. I'm proud of it because now I'm happy to say that I give readings to help other people in their lives. I have helped change people's lives based off of a gift that I'm willing to accept that other people necessarily won't. Not everybody's going to support you, but I will say this. The people or person that's going to support you the most may not be your family. You know what I'm saying? may not be your family. And I'm not talking down on my family or anything. I'm not negatively talking about them at all. But what I'm saying is, it wasn't quite accepted by my family too much. So the people that were most intrigued as I was growing through my journey was not people from my family, that was really intrigued and wanted to know more about my stories and things like that. So I just feel like I'm getting older. I'm at the point where it's like, you know what? Even more so back when I was 17, like I gotta not hide anymore. I'm all out with it. Like door wide open. If you have questions, if you have concerns, any of that, like I am here. If you have similar experiences, like let's talk about it. Eventually I want to start getting people onto my podcast to try to talk about different experiences and things like that, to really get it out. Like when I say this is Diary of a Mystic, this is Diary of a Mystic. I'm not holding anything back. I'm through with that part of my life of holding back who I am and why I chose the path that I'm on now, why I am who I am, why I do what I do. I am also Onisheshe. I practice Isheshe as an African traditional religion, commonly known as Ifa. I am proud to be Onisheshe. There's so much that I have in store for myself coming up. And I just want to share that with the world because there's so many people that might be similar to me that might need guidance or something, anything like that, So I just want to give shout outs to everybody who listened, to this second episode. I hope the first episode was well absorbed. I am back. It took me some time to drop this second episode because life hits. It is what it is, but I've never stopped doing what I'm doing. I'm here. Slight pause, but I'm back, and I'm gonna just keep the train rolling. I hope for people to contact me. If you'd like to, on Instagram. My Instagram is Signed by Fire. On TikTok, you can find me Dr._Nakai Imani. Dr. Mystical Mama, I'm on there as well. My email, mysticalmama777 at icloud.com. It's MOMMA kind of mama. Just like on my channel, Mystical Mama's Way LLC is my business. This is what I do. Doctor of Philosophy, specializing in metaphysical science, certified holistic health practitioner, certified aromatherapist, certified herbalist, Reiki master, radionics practitioner. I have so many things up my sleeve that we could talk about and that we are going to talk about over time. Please feel free to reach out to me or just comment on this video and I'll get back to you, as best as I can. But yeah, we got a journey here and I'm not holding back. Diary of a Mystic. Thank you guys so much for listening and stay tuned. Thank you so much. Take care, y'all. Until next time. Bye.